Hello there, Star Wars bestie. The Book of Boba Fett, Episode 5. What an incredible episode. Period. It was, I wanna say, a 12 out of 10 episode. This is a review video about this episode, and obviously there are spoilers. I know that many people didn't really like the fact that this episode was just for Mando, but we see this all the time in series that overlap each other, so it didn't bother me at all. The only thing that I would like from the Boba Fett show would be to have a little bit more episodes, at least 10 episodes, so, you know, we can have more material. But I'm happy with what we have. I'm gonna say it again. I freaking loved this episode. I believe this is the best content of Din Djarin that we ever had. And not only that, but this episode took me back to the prequels and the Rebels just like that. And the thing is that I felt with The Mandalorian that Mando was a little bit of a side character in his own story. Because we have Mando just because we have Grogu, if you know what I'm trying to say. But with the Book of Boba Fett, he's the guest star and he really feels like the main character at last. I just believe that both The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett are just incredible shows, and I cannot wait. I've said this before, but I literally cannot wait to see the future of them two shows. But let's go to the episode now. Can I just quickly say what an entrance? Like, he's walking in this place among so many butchers and he's like trying to find the boss butcher in order to show them who the real butcher is. Why do I sound inappropriate every time?
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
Mic drop. First of all, it's so good to see Mando having an amazing fight scene once again. And another detail that later on in the episode is revealed is we see him fight, but he's kinda slow while using the dark saber. And I like this detail so much because later on he's going to say that it feels very heavy, which I will come back later on this one. And him slashing in half those creatures, I was real surprised because I thought that being with Grogu made him feel a little bit more, appreciative of the life of others. Moving on, we see something that I personally didn't see before in the Star Wars universe. We see this halo ring, which is an amazing new addition to the movies. I like the fact that we see new things, new content, and in this way they expand the lore. I guess it was always there, but I just didn't know about it. I think it was in one of the Star Wars games, if I'm not mistaken, but I like that they expand the lore that we see in live action. Then Mando finally finds his old sect, the Watch, which I was a little bit surprised because I got the feeling that he didn't really want to be a part of them. And I think at some point he will realize it himself, because he already removed his helmet for Grogu. About this though, it's super important that we finally watch content that is related about what happened to Mandalore, how Mandalore fell, because we always had those questions about what exactly happened to Mandalore. And this scene where they show and they go back to how Mandalore fell, it felt like the Terminator. Also, Paz Vizsla brings me back to the Rebels with Sabine Wren and Bo-Katan and the arc that was about the Mandalore. Such a beautiful reference. After we watch what really happened to Mandalore, as it called the Night of a Thousand Tears, we move on to Mando's training with the dark saber. And I really want to talk about this specific scene because this is such a big and beautiful reference to the Rebels, because as Mando realizes, the dark saber feels heavy for his hands, and as the armorer says, he fights against it. And that's a reference for the episode that we see Sabine Wren being trained by Kanan with the dark saber. And she said exactly the same thing, that this dark saber feels heavy on her hands.
It's heavier than I thought.
Energy constantly flows through the crystal. You're not fighting with a simple blade as much as you are directing a current of power. Your thoughts, your actions, they become energy. They flow through the crystal as well and become a part of the blade.
This scene is so important because both Sabine and Mando didn't really ask to hold the dark saber. But I think that Mando will be trained by a Jedi in order to learn how to use the dark saber. And that would be either Ahsoka or Luke Skywalker. And I believe that when Mando will go to Mandalore, he will explore many aspects about himself. And I think it will be there that he will realize that he doesn't need the watch in order to honor his armor, to honor who a Mandalorian is. And just because we see Mando taking off his helmet too many times, I think we're gonna see it more often in the future. And this is how I would like season 3 of The Mandalorian to go. Him trying to find himself, who he is, what he stands for, and where his priorities lie on. And I believe that in this episode we see Mando's best character development. And also we see Mando requesting from the armorer to make an armor for Grogu, which is so sweet because I think he's just trying to protect him. He's acting like his dad and he's like, okay, take this armor in order to protect yourself. So cute. Someone said on TikTok, I think it was Maria Skywalker, that those parts might be the parts of Grogu's lightsaber, and that would be awesome. Which I don't think it will happen because he requested an armor, but let's see. Moving on, Mando is traveling to Tatooine, and honestly, he makes traveling on economy seats look like bougie and, you know, posh. Also, we don't need to see Din's face in order to realize that he really misses Grogu. Just watching this child in front of him and then, you know, having this cloth tied as Grogu's head. Oh, man, he's missing his child. I really had forgotten how much I love Mando. Later on, Mando lands on Tatooine and BD-1 appears. Well, he's not BD-1, but he's a BD unit. I haven't played this Star Wars game yet because I'm not such a gamer, but I guess it made many people happy. And then N1 Starfighter! Oh my god, it's such a prequels reference and such a Phantom Menace reference. Oh, I love this part, and I love the fact that he built his own ship. I know that many people had questions about it because he is a bounty hunter, so he needs some space in order to put his bounty, but probably that's the sign that he's not gonna be a bounty hunter very soon, you know? He's shifting his career, he's becoming a dad, you know, he has to think about things. The only space that he needs is that tiny thing behind him in order to put Grogu, I guess.
Commissioned personally by the Queen of Naboo.
The Queen of Naboo? I think it's been a long time since Star Wars fans had new content and references for the prequels, because usually it's either the sequels or the originals. Moving on in the episode, we watch something that I didn't want to know and I didn't expect that we would see, and it almost feels like very inappropriate to see. And of course, I'm talking about this scene.
Dated a Jawa for a while. They're quite furry. They're furry.
I'm sorry, but did Pelimoto dated a Jawa? If y'all start simping for Jawas now, I'm gonna lose it. This is a piece of information that I would have lived and I would have survived without knowing. It's traumatizing and it's naughty Pelimoto. And then we move on to one of the most important prequel references of this episode, and I'm so glad that we have new content for it. First of all, it's so beautiful watching Mando navigating through Beggar's Canyon, because first, it's a beautiful place to have, like, you know, a race with your ship, and second, young Anakin had a race there. And finally Fennec Shand appears and she basically employs Mando for free, but as he says, first he has to visit a little friend. Now, are we gonna see Luke Skywalker again? Very possibly, but I don't think it will be on the next episode because we have 2 more episodes for Boba Fett show to finish. So I think this is the start of the season 3 of The Mandalorian, and the next episode it will be when he has already visited Grogu and possibly Luke Skywalker. So I don't think we will see more of The Mandalorian. And I'm gonna say this again, I want to see a scene with Boba Fett on his Rancor, Mando flying up in the air, Fennec Shand being Fennec Shand and just, you know, kicking people's asses, and Chrysanthemum ripping arms off, and them teenagers being on Vespas and just like, yeah. I want to see a scene with all those fighting. Give me it. And I cannot believe that we are 2 episodes and then Boba Fett show will finish. It was so quick, I want more episodes. Guys, I just love this episode so much. So much lore exploring, character development, amazing cinematography. It's one of the best episodes that we've seen both from The Mandalorian and Boba Fett. So this episode fed me things that I didn't expect that I wanted to be fed with. It's just... Thank you for watching this episode. Tell me in the comments what was the best part of this episode. What are your expectations? Did you like it? And until next time, may the Force be with you, my friends. Bye!